okay, yeah, Big can do the record with him. Da-da-da-da-da. If he think he's dope, he can do the record with him. You know, of course, we had to pay Big.
Right.
But that's as far as we're going to go.
Right.
We're not going to let you get sticker rights. We're not going to let you advertise, market, and promote. You know what I'm saying? Like that. We're not gonna let you get sticker rights. We're not gonna let you advertise, market, and promote. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You know what I mean? So
Puff was a shrewd man.
I mean, some people say, hey, he's just doing business. That's what Baby told me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When I explained the story to Baby, Cash Money, he was like, hey, you can't blame that man. But at the same time, I've known Puff since he was 18, 19 years old. So I'm like,
so Big does the record.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to answer this. What did a Big verse cost back in 96, 97?
10 grand.
10 grand.
That's it. I think I got a great deal for him.
$10,000 for a Notorious B.I.G.
10 grand
verse.
flat. I don't think he was charging everybody 10 grand. I think he did me a favor based on Mark. Shout out to Mark Pitts. But yeah.
And that was his last feature, right?
That was his last feature. That was his last record. That was his last recording. We recorded that joint December 5th, 1996.
Wow. So are y'all in the studio together?
Yeah. We was at D&D Studios.
Okay, what was that like?
Oh, it was Primo, D&D Studios. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Primo.
That's Primo on the beat?
No.
Okay,
that's
who's on the
cat
beat?
by the name of Ike Lee III.
Okay.
But Preem was so gracious enough to allow us into the studio. So I walk in there. Big is already in there, but he's also in there with Jay-Z. Jay-Z still in can't knock the hustle mode. He got on the mink. You know what I'm saying, and all that. You know what I mean. So
spending money from '88 still.
Yeah. He's doing that. You know what I mean. And so I'm walking in there. Of course, Big got on the infamous Cool G and all that. So and he's waiting for. I don't know if you saw this documentary.
The show?
No. It's Fab Five Freddy has a documentary out on Netflix talking about weed. And so
I gotta see that.
Yeah, and so Branson, right? Branson is all through it, and of course, Branson is made famous by a lot of rappers because they mention his name because he's the guy back then. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Making the Primo deliveries, and so Big. He mentioned this in his documentary. Big is, sitting around. We waiting for Branson to come through with the good, and so that's what's getting his head right. And we conversing and things like that.
Yeah.
Got the Henny flowing, and so we're in conversation, and ever so often in the conversation we're in there about 8 hours, and so ever so often in the conversation I see Big black out, and Big is just rolling his body like this. Smoking, drinking, not engaged in the conversation. Yeah. The beat is on in the background, if you can imagine. We all talking.
He's like in a trance.
Yeah, but he's doing this in the trance, and I'm peeping him. And so after he'll do this for like a couple of minutes, he'll come back in the convo, talk, make people laugh, and then he'll go back out and just do this. And I'm looking at this dude, and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? So then, after a while, after he's dropping jewels on me, telling me about the game, telling me about the business at the time, giving me all these jewels that I had never heard at that particular time from an artist of his caliber. You got to remember, Big's at the top of the game.
Yeah.
So everything that he's saying to me about the business, I'm just soaking it all up. Like, wow, I didn't know it was like this. You know what I'm saying? I was living in this fairy tale.
Right.
And he's giving me the real. Like how him and Ernest setting things up, waiting for everything, kind of pop off. He's going to fulfill his obligation. Yeah. And then he got other moves he's making.
Yeah, because him and Un had their own imprint.
That's right. That's
with
right.
That Junior Mafia signed to, and Cam was signed to, right?
Exactly. And he had the Brooklyn Men clothing. He had a whole lot of stuff lined up.
That's dope that Big was entrepreneurial back then.
Oh, yeah.
Like to consider that he was 24 when he passed and he was thinking along those lines. Because on a surface level, if you just listen to his music, you didn't think he was that entrepreneurial and that sharp.
Right.
But then you hear about all this stuff from past tense. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but just the thing about his background, he's a hustler.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So once you learn certain things about certain aspects of certain other businesses, as a hustler, you're gonna pick up on these things. You know what I'm saying?
So y'all in the studio.
Yeah.
He's doing his trance thing.
Yeah.
In and out of conversation. The Henny, everything's flowing. So at what point Does he get now? What is and y'all are just chilling? Jay-Z.
Nah, he left.
Too.
He eventually.
Okay, so Jay leaves.
He was only there before we got into the creative process. Jay was in there chopping
just
it up with Big,
cooling.
And then he left. So he wasn't around for the creative process.
And so what does he just then get up and just walk into the booth?
What he does is I'm looking at him and I'm like, after a while, I'm like, okay, what are you doing, man? Yeah. He was like, no. He said, yo, chill. After I said, what are you doing? He's like, no, chill. So then, after a while, he gets up and says, I'm ready. And I say, ready for what? He said, I'm ready to get in the booth. And so at this particular time, I'm still pen and padding it up. Yeah. I'm like, where's your pen and your pad?
And because it was, I grew up and it was folklore of Jay writing like this, Big writing like this. Another one of my favorite MCs who I'm gonna have on, Ahmad from 4th Avenue Jones, writes like this. And I kind of took some of it. I punch, so I don't write, but I punch, but I don't do a whole verse in my head. Yeah,
they all punch. Okay, don't get it twisted. Okay. They all punch.
So he says I'm ready, and then what happens?
And I say, ready for what? And he says, I'm ready to get in the booth. And I was like, where's your pen and your pad? And he goes, nah, I can't do it like that. I can't write it down. I was like, what's the problem? He's like, it confuses me. And I never understood what that meant until after I went to law school. And what he meant was, it's the transferability. It's going from head to pad to mic.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Pad disrupts.
Yes, I say this all the time. Yes,
you know what I mean.
Yes.
So that's essentially what he was saying. Yes. It's like for me to sit up here and read it and to try to spit it and give you the inflections and all that other stuff. Like, nah, let's eliminate.
Just go straight to the mic.
And the thing about Big was, I say this about Big all the time. He's the most efficient MC in the history of hip hop. And what I mean by that is he says more with less. He can find a word and his syllable structure inside of a frame and the way he created his bars, he could say in one word what most MCs may use 3 or 4.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Right. That's where there's clarity. Yeah. That's why there's a depiction in how he does it. Like you see it like a movie, it's a picture, you know what I'm saying? It's so clear. And so that's what also his writing style helped him in the way he wrote, you know what I mean, in his head. Yeah. You say less words, you use less syllable structure, you use less, and it's all about a bounce and a flow.
It's a flow. The flow is crazy.
And he got that Jamaican thing in him, so there's already a different type of, you know what I mean, bounce to what he's doing. So that's the reason why he was able to convey the way that he conveys his rhymes.
It's incredible. So, I'm at a point where like I'm hardcore like Tupac. Like I'm like,
I love
Tupac, Pac to the death. And then that Biggie verse kind of got me back into Biggie, like and then
that Biggie verse on
that
my
specifically
album?
Biggie verse, because it was so like, I mean, you got to remember, like I'm 10, 11.
Sure.
Like I'm in 7th grade when Tupac died.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So you're just completely impressionable. Like Pac is a god, especially on the West Coast. So it was like, I was listening to Biggie before, but when Pac said like, F Biggie.
Absolutely.
And then when I heard him on your joint, then it kind of got me back into like checking, then listening to Life After Death. Now, that does what? Now, didn't NORE kind of throw some shade at you about that, like about Biggie? Because I don't think Biggie like killed you like that. It was a stellar Biggie verse, but I always felt like you held your own with Busta, with Biggie. You know what I'm saying? Like what that was a thing, right?
Yeah, he made it a thing. And the thing about it was no big deal when he said it once.
It was on Drink Champs.
Yeah. But he used his platform to say it twice. He had one time he had Lil C's and Jadakiss on there. And shout out to Jada, because Jada had to reel him in, because he thought that, not only did Biggie body me, but Biggie put me in retirement. Like, because from a national scale, I wasn't out there anymore because I had not released any more commercial, I had no commercially released albums on a major label after that point. So his whole thing was, he bodied me and you never heard from him again. And Jada had to tell him, no, dog, he's a lawyer. He went to law school. Like, he took this game and learned some things, and he still does music.
Shout out to Jada Kiss for correcting NORE. NORE, you need to have Mr. Tracey Lee, and we're going to refer to him as Mr. Tracey Lee until you make this happen on Drink Champs.
I would love to have a healthy conversation with NORE on his platform, but then he brought it up again when Meth came up there. And so that's when I was like, all right, I didn't really want to make, because listen, it's subjective. If you thought Biggie bodied me, I'm cool with that. I have no problem with that. That's your opinion. I can't sway you one way or the other.
Yeah.
That's just what you think.
Yeah.
But when you use your platform to bring me up twice, and not only bring me up twice, but according to you, I'm in obscurity and I'm nowhere to be found, but yet you use your platform to bring me out. Okay, cool. Now I want to see this or use this as an opportunity to say, hey, allow me to defend myself.
Yeah.
Allow me to roll up on you and explain to you, or at least tell my side of it. Don't just spew it out there and just say he bodied me.
Or just go bar for bar.
Or let's make a record. Yeah, let's get on a record. Biggie bodied me.
Nori, I love you, but the reggaeton ain't gonna cut it on a record with Tracey Lee.
Let's make a record.
No, I'm actually a big Nori fan.
No,
I love Nori.
I love Nori.
Especially that era Nori,
Yeah,
Capone
absolutely.
Noriega, and then the transition in with the Neptune and
Absolutely.
the Pharrell beats. Nori was amazing.